issues with that, but we'll be recording today's session. We do that for the ability for people to come back, look at the information, kind of go over it with that. Do want to highlight today's discussion is going to have a lot of interaction with you all. So if any of you are sharing a computer, again, I encourage you. It might be best to have other people who are listening. Maybe go to their computer, log on. The banner at the top is what you want to click. We've had it out there on our banner. Just click that join meeting now. That'll bring you into this, and that'll put you in the right meeting and take care of everything, because we're going to be asking several questions, and we just like to have really good feedback. Last month, actually the last 2 months, we have highlighted that we've got an issue going on with the invite for these Tuesday morning meetings. So a couple things we've done. Again, we've been doing this every month now for probably the last 3-4 months. We'll put it out here on the banner. You can click right there. You don't have to go to your emails. That's always going to be the correct meeting. But for some of us, I'll show you, I'm going to share my screen with you guys on my email here. We had about 20 people over in an old invite. Again, you want to, if you can, go to there. If you're like me and you've still got both of these, and I did this intentionally, okay, you're going to see, if you hover over it, there's MMS monthly training, and that came from Jessica Gobin, right? Jess is the one that sent that. If you've got two of them side by side like that, and one of them says Tommy Cottle, delete that. That is not an active course anymore. We thought we could get rid of one set and start a whole nother set, and I tell you what, the system will not do it. We have spent hours trying to get this fixed. So again, please, if that's on yours, look at your on your Outlook, and get rid of the one that says from Tommy Cottle. That's not an active course. Get rid of that. That's not what you want. But again, our go-to right there. Join the meeting. Best way to come in here. We got a great group of discussions today going on. I'll just highlight a little bit of what we're going to talk about. Again, Randall's going to go over a few things on Crossing Midnight, a couple of reminders. We're going to talk about a new required training button. We've been highlighting that out on our main page for a little bit. Tommy's also going to be talking about some new training admin and learn things there to help us with kind of diving into what our learning records look like, and training records there. We've got a new mowing map I'm going to demonstrate. We also have got our new project, federal project numbers that will start here on March the 1st. So we'll kind of highlight those a little bit. And situational awareness. We've got a couple of BIs that we want to highlight that. Hopefully that'll take us probably about 30 minutes, and then we're going to spend the last 30 minutes of this morning talking about some new developments with review and submit. So we're rewriting all of documenting work and review and submit, and we have got a few things we want to get your feedback on. So with that being said, I'm going to jump out of the way. Anytime you got a question, guys, raise your hand, put it in the chat. Please, we want to know what you're thinking and curious about. Let us know. But I'm going to hand it over to Randall. It's all yours.
All right. Good morning. So like Michael said, I'm going to go through a quick review of Crossing Midnight. I'll do this pretty quickly so we can get on over to the fun stuff, some of the new stuff that we've got. But it's pretty important that we figure out how this Crosses Midnight works, how it goes to the review and submit page, kind of help with some errors. So I'm going to go in as a supervisor here and just document a little bit of time. We're going to cross midnight from Saturday into Sunday. Select my activity. Hopefully snow's over for the year, but we'll practice anyway. And let's go 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Calculate those hours. Yes, we're required to work. Notice it populates everything, puts the gold like it's supposed to. Let's go all the way through these screens. I'm not going to document any equipment, but you know how to do that. We'll select a route. I'm going to click done. We're not going to put in any materials, but you would select there. Now it has that to midnight. So we're say done. Now we're going to go into the review and submit page. And what you need to do when you go home and you document it crosses midnight, you document that first part, you need to go in to the second day, to the morning of that next day, and confirm all of that usage. The reason being, when the supervisor goes to the next day, to the morning, you're going to notice the supervisor sees that there's a crosses midnight. That's what this CM, and it's in red. That's what that means. It's crosses midnight. But there's no time here. That's because the employee has not went to the morning portion and went through and confirmed that time. So it does not send it to review and submit. It has created a crossings midnight ID. It knows it's there, but until the employee goes through that stuff, it's not going to move it to review and submit. So as an employee, you need to go to your labor page. It's already here. All you have to do is just click next and go through that. So by clicking next, that sent that to review and submit. Same thing with your mileage. Your location's already there. We documented it, but that's going to give you your job number on review and submit. Next, and now we'll go back to review and submit, and you're going to notice that everything is going to be populated. So that's how you get somebody cross midnight. You went ahead and submitted because everything was good, but there wasn't a location. That's why. You have to go to that morning portion and go ahead and confirm all that. I'll stop for just a quick second. Any questions on that?
Hey, Randall, this is Sheree. I just would like to add, when you are confirming your morning portion, make sure that you do not delete anything or make changes to it or anything like that. All you're doing is confirming what was previously documented. If something has to be changed, you need to go to the day before when you initially came into work and make your changes there. You don't want to start deleting things on that second day, because when you do, then that messes up the whole entire crossing midnight entry that was made. So keep that in mind. You don't want to delete. And if you think that you have the urge to delete, call the MMS help desk or reach out to us, please, before you do that.
Yep. So the only thing that you really might want to do would be like to change your end time. You can go ahead and change that end time. But like she says, don't be deleting activities. So
right.
That being said, let's go back and I'll show you how to delete so it deletes everything and you don't get those two joined. So we've talked about this before, but if you'll go to the original day that started that crosses midnight, and we go to the labor page, the best way to delete all of this, and it will delete both days, is if you delete your time up here in the selected time grid. When you click delete here, are you sure you want to? Yes. It's going to delete everything for this portion, and it's also deleting everything for the morning portion because that time is now gone. So notice the calendar's grayed out. You can't even get to that date anymore. It's gone. So that's the best way to delete everything and start over if you need to. Go back to the original time, delete it all out.
And if you get the message that says the start and end time overlap, the very first thing when you see that message, go up and look and see about the start and end time that comes from your shift schedule, usually is then populated up at the top. Make sure you take that out. That is the only thing that you should remove, is that start and end time. And that's telling you that things are overlapping. That is because it's bringing in your shift schedule that's already built in MMS on a regular scheduled day. So keep that in mind. If you see that message, go up and see, oh yeah, it's populated my shift schedule. I need to take that out real quick. Okay. Any questions about that at all? Thanks, Randall.
All right. Yep. All right. Any more questions? If not, I'll turn it over to whoever's next.
I'm up, Randall. This is Tommy. Good morning, everyone. So we have some new buttons and features on the license and training page that we want to show you. I'm going to share the page here real quick. So the first thing is we created a link, it's a button, but to the required training report. And I'm impersonating Mr. McClure here. This button is all about him in this case. As supervisors, you guys still see what you see, but the individual employee, now they have a button they can hit and pull up their report indicating what their required safety training is and what the status of those classes are. And this is a snapshot of his training. The easiest way to figure out what you might be missing is just go to completion date, filter that down to blanks because that'll be the one that doesn't have a completed date in it. And these are some items that needs to be taken at some point. So that is really easy and just something now that the specific employees, you guys can run these for yourself and see that. Michael, was there anything else you wanted to elaborate on that report?
I think the piece there, Tommy, is we've got the video out there, but the big change is that your employees now could do this. So supervisors, you guys could always get this report under safety dashboard, right? You can get it for your employees to report to you. We've talked a lot about crew leaders do not have access to anybody but their own. They're not in that supervisory chain. But we've made this here because we feel like it really is fitting into a gap here. So again, anyone can come in and see their own and know what they are missing there. So there is a little bit to kind of understanding Excel a little bit. Again, the video highlights that just like what Tommy did. There's kind of those steps there. But we hope this helps. Again, speaks to our employees who are actively trying to know what do they still need to do, right? So, yeah, thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Hey, Tommy, real quickly,
yes.
Michael mentioned there is some understanding Excel. If you guys have issues figuring out how to sort, filter, all that stuff, give us a call. We're in it quite a little bit. And if that's a training or something that you guys would like to see, let us know. We can do a little Microsoft Excel training. All right. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you bet. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. The report's already filtered for you. It just becomes doing a little bit extra to narrow it down. So it wouldn't take long. If you guys need help, like Randall said, just reach out to us. Any of us can help you with that. A couple of the other new buttons. We worked with safety management and they added a new button called Safety Tech Trainers. I'll show that report here. And so these are the people in each district, and you can see at the bottom of the spreadsheet, they're grouped by district. And these are all the specific trainers for specific trainings. And you can see the X marks what this person is qualified to train for. And each district, just a tab across the bottom, you tab across there. So right now, the spreadsheets kind of may open our default a little bit funny, but you may just have to scroll. In this case, this tab opened up all the way down to fourth from the bottom row. But just make sure you scroll up to the top and make sure so you see the full list of approved trainers. This is just to help you guys find the contacts. If you're needing chainsaw or chipper, looks like Mr. Henson is one of the approved trainers for that. Any questions there? Anything further, Michael, you want to elaborate on this particular report?
No, we hope that this again kind of helps with a little bit of connecting those dots. Let us know if there's some other things you feel like we should kind of add to that.
I'm looking.
Not bad.
Okay, I think we're good now.
5 p.m.
I got it.
Oh.
Found it.
Okay. So then, if there are some other things, right? Because again, we're trying to make all this stuff so here's my training. Okay. Yes, we get everything from movers. We get it once and like at 2 a.m. every morning. Like Tommy showed, here's a connection to your people who are entering stuff into movers. Sometimes that's a good conversation to have. And then here's a link, district or the safety health group. is keeping up with all of these trainers. These are approved trainers, so sometimes that's the beneficial piece. We just want to make sure that we're connecting all those dots. And if there's something else you feel like, hey, I need to know this thing, can you help me get to that? Let us know. That's really where we want to go there. All right. Thank you, Tommy.
Yep. And so, as Michael kind of alluded to there, the second button at the top here is the Movers Learn Admin. So these are your contacts, district contacts. If there's a problem, you've taken the training, you're not seeing it on your transcript, you just need some assistance in finding some training. These are your Learn admins, not your approved trainers, but these will be the folks in your district you contact that can help you with anything in the Learn from an administrative standpoint. Pretty straightforward here. One tab, just the list of those contacts. Okay, I'll stop. Any questions on any of the three things that we talked about? So the new required training report, we have our safety tech admins for the district, and we have our learn admins button for the district now. Okay. I'm going to turn off my share and pass it on.
Fantastic. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. If we stay with this mindset, what Tommy's been talking about with training. So one of the items that we are going to be investing some work in the next couple months is we're going to work through our assigning work process to make it a little bit more robust than what it is as far as assigning work. The intention is we assign our employees everything we possibly can. They're assigned an activity. They're assigned a piece of equipment if they're operating that. They're assigned a role. We do that. Now, we have activities that are emergency activity, call out things that don't really fall into that assigned world. But we've had a meeting today, right? And that fits exactly our kind of safety culture of we have our morning muster. We're going to do our stretches. We're going to talk about what we're doing today. What's the assignments? Who's doing what? We're going to do the RBA. And MMS is just supporting that process with the training. So our data, what I'm showing you right now is in the month of February. Okay. And I brought up one of our buildings, 7D33 there. This is a reflection of, all the way through the end of the month here, any kind of alerts that they got. And many of you are seeing these alerts. We want you to be working through those. We don't want anyone actively being assigned anything that isn't that they're missing training for. And so some of you are seeing things like this top one. Here's Gear Up for Basic Safety, right? A brand new employee. I would say probably all of these end up being new employees, but there's snow removal, there's cargo, there's OJTs here. All of that looks really pretty legit, right? That Gear Up for Safety, the radio, the front end loader, the dump truck, those are all that first week when they were here. And it's going to take a couple weeks for those to come off. When you see it's not, right? So again, you sent your employee, they've got a transcript, they completed that class that first week. When you see that it's not come off within a couple of weeks, right? We got to be gracious to these people. They got a lot going on too. Use that admin connection that Tommy just showed you. Go back to that training, click on that admin, have a phone call with them. Hey, Tommy here has he's been with us now 3 weeks and I'm still getting alerts on basic safety. Is there something that's being missed, right? And so those are good conversations so that it's your part, what is that, right? And what you might hear is that we don't even have that person's name yet in Movers to assign anything. And as soon as we do, boom, we'll put it in there and we'll shoot you an email. We'll let you know, right? Have that conversation with them. So again, training alerts, we are moving into more of that. What does it really look like? Everyone's checked off. How do we have good awareness of what's going on? So I'm going to actually jump now to a different subject, a piece that we've just developed as we kind of move away from that training world for a little bit and go to new item that will be loading soon into our production environment. This is out in our test environment right now. So if any of you want to come and look at it, you're more than welcome. Go to the MMS test, go to my area. That's where I brought this up at. And there's a new group here called activity maps. Okay. And what this is looking at data from mowing. And I've turned on all of the data from 2024 for the entire state. What we had been asked was, how could we see in an easier way how many times we have documented that we mowed a section of roadway? And by policy, we mow. It's a sight distance issue. It's a growth issue. We try to aim for 3 cycles a year, but weather impacts that. Wet, rain, dry, all kinds of things can impact it, right? And so to have in one place, you'll see if I turn off some of these over here, you'll notice that the blue is just 1 cycle. Now, I think if you look into this again, go look at UAT, shoot me a note. But I'd say a lot of times what this is probably the lack of just picking something. So we're just outside of Eldon here. I highly doubt that Route FF was only mowed once. Now, if you click on that route, it's going to tell you something about it right there. Now, it could have been that Route F here was a PGR route, very possible, right? And it was mowed in September. So we're going to tell you the month. We basically summed all of this into a month at a time, which can sometimes put you in a little bit different place because you could have mowed, say you mowed June 5th, and then you turn around and mowed June 29th. We're going to see that as 1 cycle. It's okay, but just to let you guys know, to handle the volume of data with mowing, we kind of put them into groups of per month. This is more just what really is going on. What are we really doing out there? So you could turn on 2 cycles. So you see here again in Eldon, we pick up other routes with 2 cycles. Staying with Eldon here, now we got 3 cycles. You can zoom in and actually see the different sides, north, south mound, east, west mound. And then you can pick up that we've done 4 or more cycles. And sometimes that's what happens, right? So Route M, now if we had come out to Route M, when I click it, notice it has some kind of a documentation in May, in June, in July, and in September. Now it's very possible we mowed this Route M, all of it in May. We mowed all of it in, let's go look down here. What was this section? In June, okay? But then in July, we sent the guys out here to do a couple of sight distance mowings, just some intersections. Nothing wrong at all, right? So kind of those point locations will be picked up. They're probably going to line up with that particular segment of roadway. So there it is. You guys can take a look at that. We'll be moving that to production here again in the next few days of what that looks like. So when you look from a big view here, you're going to find some stuff that does look a little different. I suspect some of this is just documenting. We're still not looking for perfection on this. We're not saying you have to be exactly we finished here yesterday or not, but I would encourage you all have that conversation with your employees, particularly when we start mowing this year. They can do in documenting work. They can always turn on that previous 7 days. It's a really cool feature. It's going to show you where documenting had occurred the previous 7 days. Anyone who's the lead can do that. But then you as supervisors, you'll be able to come in, you'll turn on the 2025 as you start mowing here another couple of months, and you'll start seeing the progress. What does that kind of look like? Again, some people won't have a first mowing in May or June. They PGR'd, right? Or some things going on. But it is to highlight what are we documenting that we did. I would like to always be able to say what we document is what we did. I believe that is accurate. So again, kind of helps out with that. All right. Any questions about this this mowing map? All right. So we're getting ready to move into our next calendar year. So there was a vote there. I think Tommy put it out there. And so I think the question was names not recorded, results shared.
Just
Maybe
thumbs
looking.
up, thumbs down. Did you like the
Yeah.
one, Matt? That's all
There
it
you
was.
go.
Just quick thumbs
Perfect.
up,
Thank
thumbs
you,
down.
Mullen Map. Hey, I like those thumbs up ones, but hey, I'm okay. It's okay you don't like it. That's good. We want to know what you guys think. Again, we're going to have several of these polls here, voting here, coming up here in just a few minutes. So every year, March 1st is when we try to start new federalization. Shree's been very involved in that for several years. Shree's working with Jess. Email came out yesterday from Jess about, hey, just aware, starting Saturday, that's the first. We're going to have new project numbers. So again, our federalized activities, right? Those main ones we've talked about. Asphalt pavement repair. We federalize signing now. Chip seal, pipe replacement, crack sealing, bridge flushing, bridge sealing, bridge deck repair. All of those kind of worlds, we federalize those activities, our lighting activity. Just be aware that they're going to get those S numbers, and how again it impacts all of you. Particularly, I want you to be aware of two activities: asphalt pavement repair and signing. Anything you ever document on asphalt pavement repair, as long as it's a Fed aid route, again, you could go to my area if you want to know, and you can turn on Fed aid routes to see which are Fed aid routes. But that will get a new S project number, and we're going to do it real time. And if it's inventory you have some chips, you have some cold mix in your inventory. Some of you have hot mixes in inventory. I think that's a best practice. That's the easiest, cleanest way of getting everything to that correct project number. We're probably going to be somewhere between $80 to $85 million that are eligible for reimbursement from FHWA for the work you all do. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But when you go buy stuff with a credit card, or someone's ordered this on a PO, and you're getting invoice tickets, hot mix invoice tickets, as crew leaders, supervisors, you're having to write stuff on those. This was for R312. You've got to get the right job, the right project number on that. Please go to your review and submit. You can see on that review and submit where those job numbers are. We've got multiple different little trainings that Shree's done over the years in this deal, but just be mindful. Those are all going to start up again this next year. Pick those up. Be aware. We will have reports that will say, did you get the right job number or not? I tell you, it seems like we always have a couple that start out weird at the first year that we're going to work through, but all of that will start on Saturday. Signing. Nice thing about signing, almost all of that's inventory, right? Signpost, the quickcrete. But again, if you're buying stuff, you're going to have that awareness. Okay, now I'm sending this into financial services or general services. I've got to have the right job number. So again, make sure that you're jumping out there. Go look at that review and submit when those employees did that work. Go check that out. Find that job number up there, and you can make sure that you're getting into the right stuff. Okay, with that.
So, Michael, may I add?
Yes, absolutely.
So, at the end of the week, we will be sending out an email. So, watch for your email. It's the same email that comes out every year, but it will have the attachments in there or the links in there for the new federal guidance sheet. We will also have communication in there about anything that is in regards to federalizing that you may need to know. And then on the maintenance SharePoint site, there'll be links there that is our NEPA information and things like that that maybe you would want to know, or that you may not be familiar with, or you have new supervisors, new crew leaders. just familiarize them with that. So there'll be communication that'll be sent out. And as we encounter this every year for whatever reason, you may try to submit, review and submit, and you'll get a message back that says something about the S number or the project number is not the right one. If you get that message, reach out to the MMS team right away, because what we need to do is get with the TRS folks, payroll folks, and we need to make some changes, or they need to make some changes when it comes to TRS, and that maybe they've missed something. And that happens every year. It usually happens with striping or signing, something like that, that we've ran into a little bit of a hiccup on. So if you do get that message, reach out. Don't ignore it. Reach out, because we may not be aware since we don't submit MMS to TRS. So we do want to be aware of that.
Thank you, Sheree. And yeah, the Sheree's pointing out there on your maintenance site, there's going to be a document for federalizing. I mean, this is pretty routine. We just kind of update a few things each year. You'll see in here see those S numbers again very soon. Once we know them next couple of days, those will be updated. So you're looking for those kind of numbers on those activities, right? And so when I'm on a review and submit, I'm here in Lebanon building for Monday. Next week, we do signing work. And Andrew Ash goes out and does signing work. And you went and bought something for the P card, all of that kind of world, right? You're going to need to come in here and say, okay, so then what's this job number? It's not always going to be an S number, guys. It's not. Don't take it for granted. Don't think please go look at it to make sure, because there's going to be times it's a WR. It's not a federal aid route. Signing, you have to have charged out a sign for us to get federal reimbursement. So if you just go dig the hole, put a post in, we don't ask for federal reimbursement. So please don't try to just say, I'm writing this number down for all of it. Use review and submit to help figure that out.
And
Now,
also to help your financial services folks, there was a message that just sent out yesterday, just reminding you all that if you have corrections or you have anything that needs to be fixed for last year, we need to get those taken care of before we have those project numbers closed out in SAM2. So then those FS charges can go through like they need to. But we need to make all our corrections, because the thing that we don't want to do is be double dipping through the feds and claiming something that really we weren't supposed to. So just make sure that you're being aware that we need to get those corrections made and in a timely manner that helps out FS, and it helps us out as well. So keep that in mind. Watch for emails, and let's start off this new year on the right foot, which you guys do an awesome job every year of letting us know and getting every penny that we can for reimbursement.
fantastic. I think Sheree and we believe the hardest thing with federalization is if you ever have to figure out the job number before you've done the work. And there's very few times that's the case, but somehow you bought something in advance of ever doing it. And again, it didn't go through inventory. So what would be a suggestion? How could you do that, right? So I'm looking at Jeff Mays here. Jeff, I'm calling you out, right? You went and bought something. Maybe it's even on a PO, right? I went and bought whatever this is. It did not go through inventory, but I have this expense and I'm going to use it on a federalized activity, asphalt, signing. I know I'm going to, and I have to turn the tickets in. I have to turn the invoice in. We haven't done the work. Jeff, how might you go about trying to figure out what might that job number need to be written down on that invoice or ticket?
Typically, when you pick that job and that location, it should populate up in that job number area. You can look that up and it should populate there, and then you can transfer that over to your paperwork.
Yeah, yeah. So if Jeff has one of these examples, and again, he's not done the work yet, Jeff can come in here and just go ahead and pick that kind of activity, pick that location, go look at review and submit just to figure out the job number, and then go delete it. Or use the test environment. Just start that process that this is going to tell you what it is. Okay? Hey, I appreciate it. You guys have questions on that, please let us know. We want it to handle as much as possible in the background. And again, thank you guys for everything that you do here. All right. I think where we're at, I think we've got a little bit of a demonstration on some Power BIs that Randall's going to provide. And then we're going to move into some new functionality for review and submit.
All right, thank you, Michael. So this won't take but just a second, but we want to kind of demo a Power BI that we've been working on that they use for situational awareness. So to get to these reports from the homepage, you click on the reports button, and this opens up the Power BI SharePoint site. So Power BI, in case you don't know, it's a Microsoft product. It stands for Power Business Intelligence. It's a program that allows us to bring data from multiple different sources together and put it into one report so you can see it. So the most of the reports that you guys will be using is in this big button on the left. So if we click on that, it's going to bring up all of the Power BIs. Depending on who you are, if you're a supervisor, crew leader, you may see more or less reports than what are over here on the left. But the one we're talking about today specifically is this situational awareness. This is the one that we use for all of our winter operations. So this overview page brings in a bunch of information, kind of puts it all in one place, whether it be how many operators we have, the incidents we've had, the salt, so on and so forth. Employees gets more down into the details of the employees. The one we want to specifically point out today is this training one. It looks for all of the 12 courses that are required for plowing snow, and it does use the equivalency. So if you are like me, you've been here a long time, you may have taken an old course before Gear Up. It does look for that as well. So what you can do is there's different buttons here. So the supervisors on and off, that just adds whether your supervisors are included or not in these numbers. And then the emergency workers, if you've got any of those, you know that they only require 2 courses. They have their own courses set up. So if we select that, it's the Gear Up for emergency workers and the OJT for emergency workers. So it only looks for those 2 courses. If you do the others, it has all full-time employees. It looks for 12. What we recommend is that you maybe go to your org and see how many people are there, if that looks right, and then make sure that they've got their training. This is based on plow org. So for example, I'm on this list for 7H52. I have a snowplow org for Winona. So I'm on this list, and it gives that supervisor an idea of whether I've had all my courses. You can see we've got a few new employees here at Winona, so they don't have all the courses required, which is how they come up to this. But it's updated every week. So I recommend if you have, especially if you got new people maybe transferring in or some emergency workers or whatever, go here to this page. So situational awareness and training, select your org and just see where they stand. Make sure everybody's got all the training that they need. Any questions about this Power BI?
I think I heard Randall make the prediction that he's saying they're done with winter in Winona. Maybe,
Absolutely.
right? Is that what you're saying? Definitely. So, I do think we're close to the end of the beginning. But when you look at that as supervisors, realistically, you want that to represent where the whole crew's ended up at, right? So if there's some OJTs, those kind of things that you need to sign off on, that they are competent on them at that, please get those turned in. All right. So we're pretty excited about our next thing. We're going to get to do some demo. Jess is going to be leading us through this demo. It'll be kind of a group effort, but she's going to do the majority of the driving here. We're going to have probably 5 or 6 different polls, and we would like to see as many of you all vote as possible. So we've got somewhere probably close to 170, 180 people on right now. We'd sure like to see that kind of participation because really you guys are getting to help us decide, is this really where we're going to go? We are rebuilding all of documenting work, every page, every functionality of it, labor page, equipment, materials, PA, summary. But we are currently working on the review and submit page. And we got a couple ideas, a couple of things we've already had kind of moving, and we think they might be good, but we need y'all's input on it. Okay, so turn it over to Jess.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I am first going to share my screen, and this is in the development environment, so it's not out there yet. But this is currently what the view that you guys see in review and submit. You'll notice right here how the gold banner is down further. You kind of see some of the crew right here. So this is what we're seeing right now. What I'm going to click on now is I'm going to have it load and show the possible new revisions to review and submit. And I want you to notice kind of when it pops up the difference up here in our header. So let me get that open 1 second. All right, and you can notice how right whenever it popped open, there's the gold banner is right here. So it moved it up so you can see a bunch more of the crew. So it's listing more of you guys in there at once. So just again, I'm going to go back to the old one real quick. It just kind of moved this banner up here up and allowed a bigger view there. And you can always scroll back up to get there, but right when you open that page, it's just going to kind of give you a bigger view of the crew right there. So Tommy has a question that he is going to put in there just so we can kind of get your input on your thoughts on if you like that banner being up here with the gold view, you know, seeing more people on the view and what your thoughts are. And then I'll continue on with some more stuff. So
Okay,
Tommy,
thanks, Jess.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and post this. And again, what we're trying to do is eliminate as much scrolling as we can. And anytime we can scroll, we think things are better. So the first question is really, do you like this way that this defaults or not? And it's either a thumb up on the left, you like it, a thumb up on the right says you don't like it, or 2 thumbs up. So and as Michael said, Jess said, we really need your guys' feedback. We're doing the rewrite for a purpose, right? We're modernizing the application. We're keeping it up to IS development standards. So we're not just doing this for willy-nilly. We're doing this. There's a reason, and that's so we can keep the app healthy, performing well, and safe. So really, really important that we get your guys' feedback for these questions. We got to know, are we on the right path? And the things that we're doing make sense. Good. Let's look like we got up to 102 responses, just so sounding good. I think carry on.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tommy. All right, so now what I'm going to do is we are going to go back to a date on which is January 9th. So I'm going to show you now the calendar. So you can click on the calendar and I'm going to show you kind of how quick it's nice. It moves really quick now. So I'm going to move it very fast. So I'm on July 2024, but I want to go to January. It goes real quick like that. Otherwise, because I'm trying to go to January 9th, you can also type it. And then it's taking a second to load in here right now because, again, it's in development. It normally does not take that long to load, just so you know. So while that's loading, I'll have the old view up, and then Tommy has a question on the fastness of the calendar that we can have a poll on real quick, and then I'll continue on.
Okay, so again, here comes a couple questions at you about the calendar. So this calendar is amazingly fast. I'm going to be super disappointed if anybody says no, they don't like how fast it is, because was the one thing that concern that we know has been a struggle going back in time. So the new calendar appears to be really fast. Plus, you have this ability to manually type in a date, and that's really helpful when you're troubleshooting maybe one of those past dates. But let us know what you think about that, and I hope everybody says yes.
Looks like we're
So,
getting some good responses again. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, while they're answering, we had a question about taking the MMS banner off completely, so you don't have to scroll at all. But you need those buttons to leave that page later on. So if you want to go to a different module or something, you're going to need to be able to get to those buttons.
Thank you, Randall. Yep, that's correct. So you want to be able to have that option just to scroll up. You may never need to scroll up, and that's fine, but we want the option still to be there in case you need to get somewhere else on there. We don't want to completely take those off.
Awesome, great response, guys. Appreciate the participation. It's looking great. Hey, we're good, Jess. We can carry on.
All right, perfect. Thank you all for responding. So again, I'm going to go back. This is the current view. Right now, I want you to kind of look at the expand all labor. So we have all the employees listed here. And right now you have to click on the expand labor link to get that to expand. And then you could collapse it all. Those are two different links there. And that's actually, there's no labor on that day. My apologies, guys. Oops.
All right, so as Jess is getting to a day here, again, she's showing a couple things that we're going to consolidate. One of the questions Kevin has is asked was, well, will it load faster? Everything that we're seeing, Kevin, it's going to load significantly faster to get to a new date. And we do believe it's going to just review and submit page itself will load faster. The thing that we find, though, is that even in our dev environment, working with our developers, we start having to move it into our test environment and production, and what does it really do or not do? That's when we're going to really know. But there's multiple things they're doing in the background to make the page itself just function more efficiently. So we do believe right now with everything we're seeing, it's going to load faster. I want you all to probably wait until we have it in UAT or production to judge us on that. But it is a driving force of everything that we're doing is to make that happen. So thank you, Kevin. Brian asked, is this only in the review and submit, correct? Yes, this is, again, we're working, concentrating on review and submit right now, Brian. This is how this page is going to be moving that way. So for right now, but we are working through all of our pages, and we're going to have some more of these in the next coming months to ask you more questions about like documenting work. Ricky asked from the daily journal button, does everyone have an extended wait time after selecting review submit before? Yeah, to that point, Ricky, it's just having to figure out everything for that day. One of those frustrating things you guys will find, particularly in winter operations. So we do believe we're going to make it as efficient as possible. I don't know that it's ever going to be snap your finger and it loads, right? But it's going to be running significantly more efficient than what it is today. And there's some other things we're thinking about that will help a little bit too, but we don't have quite those built yet to show. So yeah, all right. So let me hand it back to Jess and get out of the way here.
All right, thank you, Michael. Okay, so right now, again, we're in the current view. I have selected the expand all. Notice this is over here, and then you could scroll down. Something that was added too were the performance units or PAs are here now. You'll notice how equipment and materials are down here, and then you can do the expand. I want you to notice how the scrolling down is. This is the current view that you guys have. There you go. So it kind of goes down on the page. Now I'm going to go to the newer version. I'm going to go over, and you're going to see how there are tabs now. So notice that you don't have to scroll down. So you're, instead of being down here, like so, it's going to be up here for the tabs. And then if you want to expand all, it's now on a button instead of a link. And I'll click that and it will expand it. And there you go. Now you can see all those expanded like that. Let's see. And then another thing, once you expand it, you'll see down here, you'll say, how do we get over there? There's another little scroll bar in the window that'll allow you to scroll over to each user and see what their usage was as well. So it's kind of a cleaner all-in-one window, less scrolling is the effect. You'll notice then on the tabs there's asterisks. So what's going to happen now is right now you'll see, and I'm using Craig Leak as I'm impersonating him. Thanks, Craig. In order for him, he has to review every single one of these tabs. He has to go through equipment, and you'll notice once you click on it, the asterisk goes away. So he'll review that, make sure it's okay, and then go to the material, the asterisks go away. And then there should be a submit button. I will show you that in just a minute. I'm going to change the date of that. I don't know if Tommy has any questions on that or not, but right now I'm going to switch the date to a current date that we had to show you the submit button. So again, I'm typing it in and I'm hitting enter. This lag time is not going to be the lag time for you guys, but see, that was pretty quick. So there you go. So right now we're in a current view. They have all their hours done. I reviewed that and I reviewed equipment. Okay, we'll pretend it was there. We'll go here. All good. All the asterisks are done. I should have a submit, but because you see up here, we have a view error message. Because there's an error until he adds those 8 hours for Jared, that won't go away. So let's go to a current date that was documented and everything's in there correctly. And then I'll go to this view because it was the holiday, so February 17th. And you'll notice the last time I typed it, it went pretty quick, and then this went very quickly. So right now, I'm going to try to get to that submit button. The submit button is not up here because these asterisks are still up here, meaning I have to go through each of them to make them go away. And then now you see my submit button. So I'm able to submit the day. So basically it's reviewing the employees' hours, the equipment, the materials, just overlooking it. But until you click through all 3 of those asterisks will not go away and your submit button will not come up. And also if you have errors, the submit button will not come up. Michael, do you want to chime in right now? Is there something else that you wanted me to show?
No, so let Tommy have it. If you've got a question, I think maybe he's asking the job numbers first.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about a few things here. So horsepower, right? This is in our development environment. We're running basically a 4-cylinder here that runs dev, and by the time we get to prod, we're running a big V8, and so speed. Still don't even base it off speed what you see today. Like Michael said earlier, you guys will know when you get to actually test this in our UAT environment. We'll be much more indicative of the horsepower you'll see and speed. So things should only get faster. 2, Jess, if you don't mind jumping back to the current page, what we had there, I just want to point out a couple of the things. So in labor, there's a vertical scroll bar internal to that grid. Jess, if you don't mind showing that. All right, when we go down to equipment and expand that, again, you've got another vertical scroll bar inside that grid that you have to that runs with the equipment, and the same thing for materials. So we really like the tab version. So if you'll jump back over, we think it's going to be a lot more efficient. We think it'll be more intuitive. So as you go through your tabs, you'll see your list. And if there's no materials, or in this case, there's no equipment, there's nothing to do. You don't have anything to review, but you do have to go through all 3 tabs. And what we're trying to do is to eliminate some human error, and it's forcing the reviewer to look at both all 3, the employed, which will come up by default, but then the equipment and the materials. And just that's an opportunity for you guys to make sure that it makes sense. And once you click all 3 tabs, it'll give you the submit button. If a change is made, or if you leave the page and you come back to the page, the 3 asterisks will come back up, and you'll just have to tab through there again to make sure that you've acknowledged and reviewed any changes that's taken place. So I just wanted to give a little bit more of the logic behind what we're recommending here with the 3 tabs set up.
Yep, and Tommy, see, I
So,
just switched the date, guys, because I wanted to get some equipment and materials
Yep.
on there. Sorry. I know, again, the lag time, that's not normal. Thank you, Tommy, for saying that. So now, as you can see, the asterisks are back up there. So I'll go to equipment. So this is what it'll look like now. You can click that and expand it, the view job numbers. That's what Tommy was discussing. And then right now, so it's all on one cleaner spot. You don't have to scroll all the way down. And then again, here's your scroll bar. It kind of looks little at first. And then once you scroll over it, you can go over and look at all your information. Say I reviewed all that. That looks great. So I'll click on material. Same thing, if you want to expand it, it used to be the expand all function. Now it's the view job numbers. And again, there's the scroll. Instead of having to scroll down, it's kind of like a cleaner go across is what we're thinking for you guys.
Okay, cool. Let's read through a couple questions before we post the poll, because this is exactly what we need. So the first question, so you say you have a crew that comes in at 11 and they cross midnight and work till 7:30 a.m. When you go to submit time, there's an error message that says they need at least 2 hours for. How will this affect the submit button?
So that
So what-
that should be a green message, right? That's just a warning.
Mhm.
That's not a hard error, so you would still be able to submit.
Yeah. So it
So you don't
should
have to.
be.
Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I mean, it should be there when you come to the page as informational message. You open it just like an error message. But when you step through employees, equipment, material, the submit button then would be available because it was for informational purposes on those green buttons.
Second question, other than the submit button being hidden, can it be disabled when you have not reviewed all the tabs in order to have less confusion with it not being present? And the answer is yes, we can do either. It'll just really to get some feedback on what makes more sense. So that is definitely something we can talk more about and get some opinions on. Michael, Randall, you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Beth, there, because where we're going with is that it tends to be better, the feedback we get, if it's not available, if you can't use it. So the whole deal of, hey, there's a button here, but I click on it and it does nothing. We get more feedback of what in the world in lieu of, don't show it until it can be used. So that's kind of where our logic's going on that one. Don't give the submit button until all the requirements have been met. In lieu of it just being there, and now it seems like it doesn't work. So that's really the logic behind that one.
Okay. David with a question on the submit button. Is it possible after hitting submit button to have a pop-up message asking, are you ready to submit? Oh, David, that's a love-hate question. The people that they either love it or they hate it, right? And we would love it. I think we love it from the standpoint of this is your confirmation. Are you really ready to submit? Yeah. Versus the person said, I just hit submit. Why are you asking me if I'm ready to submit? So that's always one of those 50-50 coin toss arguments. And again, you guys will have to help us determine that is if that we think there's a lot of value to it, but there can be a lot of frustration to it too for people that don't like it.
Yeah. I think with that, David, something we are still trying to figure out, is there any way that we could potentially resubmit again? And I don't know if we found it yet, right? Because what happens, you have populated everything in TRS. There are times that you can go to TRS and clean that out, revalidate TRS, and we can submit again. So it is on our list, but we have not found an easy way to do this. Again, is the easy way is the message? I just don't know, David. It definitely is the top of our list. We probably get about once a month a supervisor who calls and says, I didn't mean to, and I don't think anyone meant to. So
Michael,
Yeah.
it's a little more than that.
Cherie has
more
more
often than
that
once a
that
month.
comes along.
And those people that have pushed that button by mistake are like, oh my gosh, yes, I've done that. And I know you hate to make that call, but don't hesitate to make that call. Just call us. Sorry.
Michael, we clearly didn't leave enough time for this, so this is awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna keep going
So-
as long as, if you can stay, you can stay. But we'll put it back on the
Please, right.
agenda for next month.
Exactly. If you got to step off. But we do want to kind of finish up our polling on this piece here. So Tommy's going to have a couple of polls to pop up there. Tommy, why don't you go ahead and do that,
I will,
and then we'll
yeah.
walk through a few more of these questions.
Hey, Tommy J had an idea of, or asked
Yep.
for a poll for that pop-up. So while you're doing that, Nathan asked, does it still tell you who the leader is? And the answer is yes. When you do the expand all, the new button works the same as the old buttons. It's just a different format. But yes, it does still tell you who the leader is. And you can click on that leader's name to get to that information.
We were trying to keep the button name short instead of saying hide job or show job number / leaders. We were hoping just to have one or the other, and job numbers being more important, we thought, is just show that. And then once Jess clicks the show job numbers, it shows your leaders, and that's what's being shown there. But we can always add that / leaders to that button too, if it's helpful.
Michael, there was another question about emergency workers. Is there a way to give emergency workers MMS sign on so they can do their own times? You want to address that?
Yeah, as of right now, emergency workers are not in Active Directory. We do not give them email addresses. I appreciate you asking that, Kevin, but there has not been any support for that to go to that level. But I can bring it up again, but pretty much it's been the overall consensus, no. Do not give someone off the street who comes in and works for us a couple of nights in the winter, a couple of days, do not give them access into our system. And I don't, Kevin, I don't see that changing.
But that'll speed up the process, though, it looks like in the new system, because when they cross midnight, I have to go into labor and go to the next day and then go back into the other guy and get the labor. So it's a time consuming process.
Yeah. So one of the things we're thinking about doing, Kevin, again, I can't demonstrate to it. You'll see if you ever call the help desk, we will frequently impersonate the person instead of going back and forth to review, submit, and all that. We've got some ideas to make that process much more efficient. So if you came into a person's name, there's a problem. You click on their name, you go to documenting work. We're going to allow you to be that person and to pick different dates and not have to go back to review submit, back to a different date, back to review submit, back to a different date. I think that's going to speak a lot to that when you're having to work on someone's time, Kevin. We just don't have that to demonstrate yet, but I think that's going to make a big difference. And I appreciate you bringing that up. So Brian, you got your question come up. I need to add supplementary help added. How do I get there? Supplementary help, all of our ESEs, those construction personnel, any of that group, they are on your assignment. Anytime you do winter operations, they're there as long as HR has assigned them to your org. So what can happen, Brian, is that they all have to have an assigned org because of drug testing. They have to. And in the winter, if your building is called to be drug tested, every one of those supplemental help have to be drug tested. If we start sending them to different buildings, in the middle of a winter, it's just, hey, we're doing the best we can. So you could have that example. They start for you, but then all of a sudden this one storm, they've shifted them around a little bit and now they're showing up. I have no way to do that. But when we start the year, every district's maintenance engineer, system maintenance engineer, they work directly with HR. Who are those supplementary? They have to be assigned an org. So Brian, if you've got some, please send those. You can send them to me, but I would take that straight back through your superintendent, back to your assistant maintenance engineer and HR. That's why they're there. there really is no such thing as a construction inspector showing up, helping you push snow, and they're not assigned an org. And so, unfortunately, we spent a lot of time working with HR on this, but good question. They have to be to an org. Only reason they wouldn't be to yours is if somehow they've been directed this storm to come over here. So hopefully that helps there, Brian. So. All right.
So Michael, I want to do a
Okay.
quick 20-second poll. This is a thumb up, thumb down here. Do you like the idea of a pop-up when you hit submit, asking you to confirm, are you really ready to submit? So just thumb up or thumb down if you like the idea of a pop-up that you have to hit confirming you really want to submit.
Pay attention to that poll, guys. This is what's going to drive that. We've only got 90 people speaking for almost 200. I don't like people making a decision for me. Put your voice out there. Don't let this change. We're heading to adding a whole nother pop-up. Make sure that's what you guys want. All right. I like it.
It's good.
Thank you,
All
Tommy.
right, let's get to this last one, because this is really the nuts and bolts of the whole day. And we've shown you this new tabbed version, and we really need to get your feedback on that. I can get it to load up here. Here we go. Okay. We'll see how many people choose number 4 option there. But so we're asking you, we know the tab version is different, but do you feel it will be better in the long run? Hey, nobody's picked the 4th one yet. That surprises me. So we're
There we go. Now
Right
we got
after you
someone.
say
there we
that.
go. Somebody. There we go. Awesome.
Yes, thank you for all the responses, everyone. This is great.
All right, Michael. I believe that's it for polls.
Okay. Well,
You
hey,
want to wrap us up?
I think so. Jess, thank you. You did a great job there making the presentation today. Thank you, Sheree, for adding additional information, Tommy, Randall. But more importantly, thank you for all of your participation today. We really
Keep sending
appreciate you
questions.
guys.
The
You guys
chat's
have those
open.
things there. So couple of questions. We're going to address these. So again, if you guys, anyone need to hop off, that's really the end of our presentation, but we'll address some questions as long as those still come up there. So, all right, let's go to Dustin. Dustin said, we had employees working 9/11, cross midnight, automatically took 30-minute lunch aside for lunch. Can this function be programmed to function like 9/13 and take it off on one side? Tell what, Dustin, if you don't mind, can you send us the day that you guys did that? We might go in there and look at that, because if they cross midnight, the 30-minute lunch is supposed to always be on the morning portion. Doesn't really matter what the activity is. So we'll go look at that. Thank you, Dustin. We'll take a look at that February 15th and 16th on there, because it shouldn't be doing that there. So, yep. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions anyone has that they're curious about that they'd like to bring up at this time? All right. Hey, Todd, go right ahead.
All right. So I have a few questions. The first one I want to ask is for the assigning levels. Do we have different assigning levels, like supervisor levels, team crew, so that way the crew leaders aren't seeing all the employees' time off and all that stuff? Do we have different levels?
Yeah. So That's a really good question. So Todd, you work in the St. Louis, I think you're in the lighting crew supervisor, just a new supervisor, right, Todd?
Yes.
Hey, and congratulations to you. Guys, I'll just tell you, Todd is one of the guys in St. Louis that when we started doing a lot of the document in MMS, Todd really jumped in there and just proactively addressed stuff. I know that Sheree and I have directly talked about you, Todd. Thank you. I just appreciate your
thank you.
positive attitude. You've done a great job in that group. So assigning work. The way it works in our regular building setups, crew leaders, assistants, supervisors have it, and it's a security level. We assign a security level to them based upon their job title. So in our traffic world, signal and lighting, those are not those job titles. So as a supervisor, traffic supervisor, you automatically get the ability to assign work. But there really kind of isn't that next person. So we set up a way for you guys. You have a unique security level setting in signal lighting that allows you to pick an activity and you're automatically a lead. So I think probably a good thing to do, Todd, we probably to touch base with you offline here. We've talked about maybe in the past, maybe the seniors should have that security level like a crew leader for you guys and have that ability to sign because we need our signal group to do more assigning work. We feel like that would be good. But to your point, we don't need the whole crew just always seeing the leave there. So, yeah, Todd, why don't we get together after the meeting and we can kick around some ideas? And again, thank you for asking that.
Okay.
We have that ability. We just need to figure out how it would work best for you all.
Okay. Yeah. And then I have two other questions. It's kind of a little bit about the assigning. I know I emailed, I believe you a while ago about this, for the assigning people. When like say crew leader goes and assigns his crew with him, but then he has to assign like say 4 different activities
Oh,
because he's going to 4 different knockdowns that have K numbers attached to
right.
them. He has to go through each tab 4 different times to assign those groups with them. Is there a way to where he can go and assign the group with them for the one activity and then just have it like have a little quantity number next to it, so like he can hit like up to number 4 and then it automatically assigns to him and his group 4 different activities? That would save a lot of time for him sitting at a computer assigning 4 different activities for his group.
I appreciate that suggestion, Todd. I think what we can do on that is we're really kind of right in that mix right now because we're redeveloping our documenting work page. And could we address the multiple job numbers for K numbers, like you said, it's your group, or when we get a lot of assigned knockdowns, we've added 3 or 4 others to get it broke out. Could we approach it differently? Yeah, we'll think about that, Todd. I mean, it's
Okay.
not something we have today, and it's not something we had really set to do. But we'll talk about it as a group. You bet.
Yeah, I think that would save a lot of time for crews being on the computer, trying to do. I mean, that
Yeah.
computer time it would save time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the other question, so when they're on the map looking for the location that they were working at and it has a
Right.
call number assigned to them or a call report signed,
Yes.
is there a way to for the red star or the yellow star for the pending ones? Is there a way to make it to where we can put our cursor over it and it will populate, like it'll pop up with the call report number? Because like there's locations where we have, like an intersection, like say 270 and 70 interchange, where there's like multiple call reports and you got to try to click on it and then only one call report will pop up and then it's not the right one. You got to delete it. You got to go to the next one, or the call report when they call it in, customer service might have put it in the wrong location.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
me share my
so you're saying kind of like how job numbers are whenever for rest of our staff, that whenever they zoom in, it will show like the bridge number, it will show,
Yes.
the job number, that kind of thing. The other thing I was wondering, because I dealt with this yesterday, helping Brian, is that it almost, to me, if you all already know the call report number, how nice would it be to have some kind of a drop down or a search feature off to the right where you could type in that call number, that call report number, and it would take you directly to it?
Exactly. Yes.
Because for me, he was saying, hey, vicinity, but I'm not really sure, kind of thing. And I'm like lost. I'm trying to look at the map that he has done a snapshot for. And there's like 5 of them all right around that area. Well, then you're having to click on each one to see, is that the right one? Is the right one? Oh, let me go over to my area and I'll check this out. To me, almost having some kind of a search feature on here for the need to find that actual location, if it allows you to do that, it sure would be helpful.
Yes.
To me. Now others may not find that to be very useful, but
I think it's helpful because there's times where it's not customer service's fault or anything, but like when they input from the customer that calls it in, we go out to the location because what we're reading for the description, then all of a sudden on MMS, somehow it got put into a whole different location.
Exactly.
And like it's in a different county, and we're like, how did it get over here? Because some of the names are the same and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're like, we can't find the dot, but then all of a sudden we finally look into it and it's in another county.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Todd, we'll take that note. We got that written down. We'll definitely consider, like I said, the search,
And
or
Michael,
like
when
you're
we
saying,
consider that, when we consider that too, it might be helpful to add that particular search feature in my area as well. So whatever we come up with on the map here for this map layer, maybe consider doing this same thing on the my area, because that's what I went to yesterday, and I've done it in the past, is trying to find it in my area even, and find it, but it doesn't allow you to even do a search there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, because for all of you, again, we encourage you. We think the call reports on the documenting is a whole lot better way of just connecting everything together. But again, I appreciate what Todd's bringing up, is that you end up picking the route, the bridge, the asset first, and then you get, well, what was that call report? So again, can we find a way to kind of know for sure, is that the right one? Or to your point, Todd, it's just located bad. So yeah. Good points. Thank you, ma'am.
thank
Did you have
Yeah,
one
because I
more
think
question,
in most
Todd?
cases they're
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
emailed, or they're given, they have a call that they've gotten and they've written that number down. It's just trying to tie all that together. And I'm sure it's not just in the signing and the signal and lighting group. I think that others that have large groups like this may run into that same kind of issue.
Cool. Good. All right. Todd, did you have another question?
Nope, I think that's it. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll get with you later on about the signing levels afterwards. Thank you.
I got another one.
Let me go to Ricky. Brian, hang on just a second. Ricky Rudd had his hand up there, and then I'll come to you, Brian. Ricky, what were you asking about?
So what I emailed you guys the other day, I don't remember what day it was now. Somebody went to charge out blades. We changed out blades on one of our prep plows. And I figured out that, so as opposed to putting TE in the plow number, he just put the building number. A lot of the time, unless we actually replace something, that's just what we'll do for like a 914. But when he went to charge out the blades, I mean, he put the 2 of the 4 footers, 2 of the 3 footers, and when my supervisor went through to submit the day, as opposed to a number, it popped up for like the 3 foot single carbon. It said like 1.2 something, and then it was another weird number like that for the 4 footers. The only
Yeah.
thing that I did was just I looked through and noticed that he had our building number as opposed to that TE and then the plow number. Would that be the only reason why it would show up with a weird number as opposed
No.
to just an item or quantity of how many?
Did you was that crossing midnight?
No.
Are you sure?
If I remember correctly,
Because our crossing midnights will do that. If you do a quantity of one, it'll split it up like that. It all works out, but it'll look weird.
well, and I wasn't sure, exactly why it did that. So like I said, I changed the building number to the plow number and it did it.
Yeah.
It still had that. So literally I ended up
Yeah.
completely
what-
exiting out, going back in it because I thought maybe it was just a glitch. And then finally it did pop up with the correct number, but I just didn't know if there was
Yeah.
something specifically that we did wrong that we could make sure not to do again, just to have that.
So what we've done on the plow blades, and this is something that has impacted us just this year. So Ricky, I'm in here. It's always good when I'm in production documenting for you all. What has happened is that our fixed assets got reevaluated, and anything less than a current value of $5,000 is no longer on your list. So I think this next month, when you guys do your inventory with financial services and GS, you're going to find a bunch of items not on there. Those plows won't be there no more. And so there used to be every plow had a TEP number, right? And that was what you were able to do that towards and put that at. Well, it's no longer there. It's not even an available job number because it's not a fixed asset, and that's not in our new fleet system. So what we had suggested, and I sent this out, but that guys, there's so many things going on. I don't expect everyone to catch it all. Is that we said there is a each district has a non-located that you could put in here. So if I'm in 914 and I'm changing out blades again in a winter situation, just add the blades and go on. It does not matter, right? If we're in this kind of cleanup and getting ready and set up and preparation, all that kind of stuff, okay, it's a little different. So I think what that was, and I'm going to have to ask my team to help me here in my memory. It's TPNE.
No, I think it's a TE and then the 2-letter district.
That's it. That's it right there.
And
that's
yeah.
what you need to use.
If you're wanting to share your screen, you're not.
Thank you, Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced everyone's seeing the same thing I am. All right. So TE, and then put in your district northeast, and then NF, non-fleet. And so that's really that was an agreement. I sent it to all the financial services personnel. But again, Ricky, that doesn't mean that any of them catch it, right? They got so many other things going on. If you can look up the TE plow number, do it. But if you can't, and again, I am saying outside of active winter operations, then do TENE non-fleet.
Okay, I'll try that next time. Thank you.
Yeah. But the only reason,
and if you remember the dates that you ran into the problem where it was having this weird number, send that to the MMS team so we can just check into it just to make sure there isn't something glitchy going on. We have not heard that with anyone else, but they may not be paying attention as much as you are at that point during during that kind of activity. So just if you come across that, send us a quick note so we can just investigate it further.
I got on the test environment and I tried to duplicate it, but I mean, and it could have been something in a crossing midnight, and I don't remember that. But yeah, I was gonna try to show you what it did, and then Of course, I couldn't duplicate it, so it didn't work out that
Yeah,
well.
now you see our struggles sometimes.
Well,
I
and it was
suspect
my supervisor
I
was
suspect it
over
was,
here
yeah.
across the room from me, and he's scratching his head, and
Right.
I just kept working and working at it, and then I showed him that it was correct. He's like, "How'd you do that?" I don't know, but it's done.
But I suspect it was crossing midnight because I know we will do that to a unit. If you was to put a stop sign up and cross midnight, it'll split it up into a decimal. But again, Ricky, send us a shot if you see something there. All right. Hey, Brian, let me get you, and then we'll go over and answer the questions in the chat there.
Hey, sorry about that. I had a question about the signing, but actually Todd answered it for me whenever.
Oh, okay.
But I do have another question quickly.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
In the labor page, whenever
Yes,
you're
sir.
on the labor page, if you have like 3 different activities,
Yes, sir.
is there any way, like for us, it would show signal, 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 or no, I guess not signal, it'd be arterial management. Sorry, getting used to
Right.
that. So it would show 3 different ones. Is there any way to specify what those 3 are? Like I know if you have a K number, you have to put that in there. But if you don't have a K number and you're wanting to specify them so you know where to put the hours on what
Yeah,
line.
we struggled with that all the time. Like it needs to have 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
Yep.
or something like that. When it's a PD number, it's okay because we normally start with a K,
Right. Yep.
2, 5, and then that's holding that spot, and you can kind of put your own little signal in there of what it should be, whether it be a question mark or a number, and
Yep.
which it applies. But for everything else, it makes it really hard.
Correct. Yeah, so I didn't know if like under the activity column, if you could have arterial management 1, arterial management 2, something like if it could ever do that.
Yeah. So we've up until now, this has kind of been the thing we've said. You can use that property damage column to kind of help when you leave and go from one to another. But what you'll have to do, before you ever submit, you'll have to come
Delete
take this
it.
stuff out. Right.
Right. Yep.
But to your point, as we're rebuilding the documented work page, this is something that is actually in our list that we've kind of trying to figure out. Could there be somehow when there's multiple ones, again, driven probably from K number stuff, to really know that when you go through the pages, because we have that ability, it tells you up there right now, hey, that's Mo 100, but it not be something that ties you up that you got to come back and take it out. So yeah, great.
Yeah,
deal, Brian.
and then it feed to the summary page, where then at the
Yeah.
summary page, when you're looking at it, it would indicate the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing, just
Yeah.
like it does if you do put something in the K number area. Then you at least know which one you're looking at. We've tried setting it up. Well, this is the first one, this is the second one, by how it's set up on the summary page, but that doesn't help you on this page. And vice versa. So, and sometimes that gets confusing. I get it completely.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, you bet, Brian. Okay. Hey, Brad, let me go to the questions in the chat and then I'm going to come to you. Okay, man? All right. So let me scroll back over here. Let's see. I think we're to Greg had a question there. Hey, when I have an employee that does an activity that wasn't assigned to them and they add an activity, it will not give them a map to put a location. It's exactly right. So, Greg, we only set up our maintenance where everyone below a crew leader, if they ever pick their own activity, it will not make them a lead and it will not let them pick a location. And part of that, we were driving that from, we're going to assign work. We're going to tell you what you're doing. Basically, we're going to see a lot of communication in the next few months about assigning work. Intently doing that in the morning. Life happens a lot of times, right? But something's going to go. Our people just don't go and do stuff. We've told them to do something different. So does that mean maybe when you change plans at lunch, you need to go add some activities? Maybe so. But right now, Greg, we are very hesitant to open that up that an employee can just pick an activity and be a lead. We do not want to minimize the strength of assigning work and building crews. But Greg, if you could help me see some places where that needs to be done differently, we are completely open. Outside of their hours, they can. So every maintenance worker, intermaintenance worker, senior worker, if they're called in tonight and you call in 3 intermediates, they have the ability on the fly to build an assignment, to build a crew, to pick a lead, and they're all together, and it tightens that all up, and there's not a missing job number. But we definitely are open, but we have not wanted to move in that direction at all, just to allow anyone to be a lead.
And
Okay.
keep in mind, if it makes them a leader, it's going to give them the materials page. It's going to give them the performance actuals page. So you're going to end up getting duplicates of a whole bunch of stuff if you're not really careful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, after hours is one of the times I'm having problems.
Yes.
Yeah. But also if I have a lead, let's say I have a senior maintenance worker and he's put as a lead to put signs up. And
Yes, sir.
while he's out, they remove a dead deer and he wants to add dead animal removal to his thing. And he adds it, but he can't put it in a location. I can put it in a location on review and submit for him, but it won't let him put a location in.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, I think that's a relevant point. And Greg, I'm glad you brought it up about the dead deer, because we're in a whole new world with that now, that we have an activity that's just dead deer. And maybe we do need to consider some way, maybe for that activity, to almost make it like 913. If you pick dead animal, then you can just automatically be a lead. Maybe we need to do something like that. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Greg. That's a really good point. I appreciate you pointing that out, man.
Thank you.
All right, so Tommy, crew leader. Okay, Greg there. All right, Nathan. Hey, I like Nathan's comment. You guys are doing a good job. Can't wait to see these. Good deal. Melanie, can anyone add plow blades under 914, or does it have to be a crew leader? That's a good question, Melanie. Let me see. The answer is no. Only crew leaders and above can do plow blades unless you set them up underneath your mixed winter material. That's the only thing that everybody else gets to see. But yeah, only crew leaders and above get to see everything in inventory. Are you okay with that also? Does that sound like what you're understanding?
I have an intermediate shop guy who does a lot of plow blade changes.
Okay.
So he just goes through the crew leader, not a problem, but he would like to be able to do it.
Okay. All right. So what we could do, Melanie, we could just add the plow blades as one of the commodities that everyone could get to. But if you're cautious to that, there might be something we can do. So give me a call afterwards. We potentially could try something. Don't know if it's a great idea, but what it is we have a very unique security level for signing people. And I don't know how many of y'all know this. So we have a security level that we can set up for your sign person so that they can add an activity and be a lead automatically because of a lot of things you guys are talking about. That sign person is all over the place, right? And we were frequently getting this, come back, add me another activity, add me another activity. We can set up your sign people that they basically look like a crew leader on assigning work. And if they pick an add an activity, they would have access to everything, location, PAs, all of that. That could be a fit, Melanie, for this, but just know it's like we open up everything for that intermediate, but it might be the right fit. So yeah, give me a call. We can definitely kind of look at that and see if you like that idea. So, all right.
Tell me the cat's out of the bag now.
I know it. I should have
knew better than let Michael talk for 30 extra minutes.
All right, Brad, you have been extremely patient, man. What you thinking?
Maybe asking for the impossible. It's frustrating. Like a lot of times we're working in this snow removal and we don't know until the end of the storm what shifts were 913 and 914. And if I get it wrong, it makes for a lot of work because I have to go through and try to log each crew member's map, truck miles, usage. and then switch it all to a different.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to just say, oh, that was documented, should have been for 913 instead of 914, and that could be impossible from a coding perspective, but.
Well, I can tell you that Randall is pushing really hard on our developers right now to figure out how to do that exact thing.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying, Brad, but
Just wanted to
it's met
check
with
it
a
out
little
there because-
resistance.
I second that because we need some ability to do that
Yeah.
because it is
Yeah.
very, very frustrating. Brad, you're definitely not alone.
nope, not at all. And if you cross midnight and you
Oh.
called me, I would tell you, good luck, delete the whole thing. I mean, it's not good.
Yeah, it stinks, but I mean, it's not the end of the world, but boy, wouldn't it be nice to just be able to click a couple buttons and switch that? Yeah.
But Brad, it does feel like the end of the world whenever you've worked this long shift. You've been putting in and day out, day in during a storm, and it poses quite the problem. It does become the end of the world for some. So it is frustrating.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not a coder, so I could be asking for, well, yeah, all we gotta do is wad up MMS and start from scratch and we'll be able to do that, but I just wanted to voice that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought it up, but I can tell you the old hound dog Randall over here is not letting up on that one.
Okay.
I know
I appreciate that.
I know that if we had those that make the decisions when they change that, to have to go in and do the documenting and make the changes and do a whole crew, they would probably have a different feeling all the way around of when they make that decision.
Yeah, I pushed back pretty hard, Brad.
Yeah.
Superintendents, maintenance engineers, this is not a hard decision and you make it before we even show up. So.
Okay.
But anyways. All right. Hey, I don't think I see any more unanswered questions. Do you guys see any over in the chat?
No, I think you
we're
got
all
them
clear.
all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Tommy, this is what I learned today. I learned that when we let Jess present, we go about 37 minutes long.
Absolutely.
Ouch. Ouch,
Well, and
guys. I guess I just won't present.
But,
No, I'm just kidding.
Jess, but, I would say this one has been one of our best presentations as we've done in the last multiple years. So
we've had so many people chiming in, commenting, asking questions. These are the kinds of things that we want to get people away from being shy about asking, and let's have these conversations. I think this has been awesome because we have found out more things about you as users, what you deal with on your day-to-day stuff and what matters to you. So very important and very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been a joy. We appreciate it. We're going to head off. You guys, if you need anything, give us a call. Those of us who we talked to, touch base with us. We'll see if we can figure out a few things. And be safe out there. Take care.